together, and I was in his ministry for many times. So ours is not like Muslims and Christian or anything. We are human beings. And the first word come in the Quran, that what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said to the Prophet, I send you to all mankind. There is no difference when it comes to human being in the Muslim prospect. And all souls should be respected regardless of what is their religious affiliation. So most likely that's why we all are here. It's not only the Imam, but just like he said, if it happened to any human being, it's our duty as a religious leader to come together and a community leader to come together and to show our solidarity. And I thank you all. Assalamu alaikum.
Now I want to take the opportunity to introduce one of the co-chairs of the Faith and Spirituality Committee, one who has worked very diligently within the theological community in liberating them into a social justice mindset. I want to introduce my friend and our brother Jim Perkinson from Ecumenical Theological Seminary.
So that's Dr. James Perkinson, P-E-R-K-I-N-S-O-N, Ecumenical Theological Seminary, is E-C-U-M-E-N-I-C-A-L, Theological Seminary, located 2930 Woodward Avenue, 4 blocks north of the new stadiums. The seminary name indicates an educational institution that embraces the household of religious traditions, faith communities, and varied spiritualities, primarily Christian, but having in the past hosted a Muslim student who came through as a Muslim. We learned from her, she learned from us. And we stand in solidarity with other faith and religious leaders around the metropolitan area. Indeed, we draw our constituency from all over the area, the furthest suburbs as well as the nearest streets, and want to register our concern very deeply for a growing phenomenon of lack of transparency at multiple levels in our society, most notably in what happened October 28th in relationship to the killing of Imam Luqman Amin Abdullah, and want to say that, much as my brother Pastor Charles Williams said a moment ago, a threat to justice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. And our concern is that anyone should be killed under suspicious circumstances, and the kind of lack of forthcoming information from multiple agencies at various levels of government in connection with that incident, such as we have seen, is a deep problem as far as we are concerned. So I simply speak in solidarity with my brothers and sisters in other religious traditions to the degree I'm able to speak on behalf of the seminary where I teach as a professor of social ethics, and the students and professors and religious communities, churches that are associated with that group. Thank you.
Can you give your name again, please?
James Perkinson, P-E-R-K-I-N-S-O-N, professor of social ethics, Ecumenical Theological Seminary.
Before we avail ourselves for any questions in regards to the letter that we sent today to President Obama, as well as our rally that will be taking place soon, I would like to introduce one of our respected community leaders in the Bangladeshi American community, Imam Abdul Latif, A-B-D-U-L-L-A-T-I-F, last name Azum, A-Z-O-M, and he is the spiritual leader of the mosque on the east side of Detroit called Masjid al-Falah. Masjid al-Falah, Masjid M-A-S-J-I-D, and next word A-L-F-A-L-A-H. With that, like to just take the time, we can avail ourselves for any questions for any of us who have given comments, as well as our other imam right here. If you have any questions regarding the letter we sent to President Obama and the concerns that we've raised.
Can you address the issue with Prosecutor Worthy a little more? You mentioned that she wasn't getting involved with the case because the FBI wasn't turning over enough of the documentation she had requested.
That's correct. For the FBI to wrap up their case results, they need to have a local prosecutor to have an investigation and to sign off so that they could close out their results. Wayne County Prosecutor Kim Worthy, in a press release she put out, stated that she refused to be a part or to conduct an investigation because she wanted to do a thorough job. And connected with this, she asked the FBI for some specific information regarding the raid. The FBI refused to give Prosecutor Worthy the information that she asked for. Therefore, she felt that she could not do a thorough job. Subsequently, from Michigan State Attorney General Michael Cox then hired Doug Baker, who was a former prosecutor, to be a special investigator to look into this case. And not necessarily because Mike Cox perhaps wanted to. He had to because the Wayne County prosecutor was not willing to do an investigation. Therefore, out of default, it was raised up to the level of the Michigan State Attorney General. This is very important for everyone to understand that point that I'm making right there. We ourselves, we have filed Freedom of Information Act requests which have been rejected. And we hope that Doug Baker is being given the same information that Kim Worthy asked for, because if Doug Baker is not being given accessibility to the same information that Worthy asked for, then how can he possibly do a thorough investigation? One piece of information in particular is that we filed a Freedom of Information Act request for videotape footage in that warehouse. That's what we asked for. It is common standard operating procedure during sting operations that the Federal Bureau of Investigation has surveillance cameras for sting operations. This is even for their own evidence. So we requested the video footage, and we were denied that request. And I say this today. All the FBI has to do is release the videotape surveillance footage in that mosque. If the imam was pointing a gun at law enforcement officers and shooting at them, then he was wrong, and we will all admit that. However, if he was not brandishing a firearm and dogs were released upon him that began to attack him, and then perhaps he might have shot a dog out of self-defense in the act of surrendering perhaps, then that's a whole different story, and that's what we need to know. This is the bottom line. And if the FBI released that tape today, all this could be put to rest. We're going now on 7 months of a historic, unprecedented killing of a Muslim religious leader by federal law enforcement agents.
What kind of response are you getting from the FBI, if any, on why they're rejecting your request? What are they telling you?
Well, the response that we got back was simply that they were not, I got tongue-tied now. The basic response that we got was that they were not going to comply. Very good. That they were not going to comply with our request. And we actually have the documents in the office. I didn't bring them with me, but that was the response that we were given.
Well, did they say because they're still conducting their own investigation? Or
it was not that thorough. No, it was not that thorough. But let me make this point too as well, and this is a very important point. Can we all turn off our cell phones, please? Oh. This is a very important point as well. Let's compare the lack of transparency with this case with the Hutari case. Now, we don't have to even talk about the actual shooting and then not being a shooting at the Hutari case. The government has freely given over audio recordings of conversations relating to the Hutaris. So if the government can give out this information related to this Christian militia,